Que la que hay, mi gente? Welcome to Let's Hablar podcast. I am your host, Maye, and we have
Kyra.
We're going to be discussing something that we talked about previous episode. We talked about how Shaggy is claiming that his song It Wasn't Me wasn't a cheater anthem. It was supposed to be an anti-cheater anthem, which we have all heard the song, and I have researched the lyrics. All leads go to it's a cheater anthem. I don't know how you want to spin it, bro, but you was cheating on your girl even though you say it wasn't you. Went to the Hollywood Walk of Fame over the weekend and we did a poll. Turns out majority says it was a cheater anthem. Sorry, Shaggy, paint it the way you want to paint it. It was a cheater anthem of the 90s and early 2000s. So let's get into it. We have a couple of songs that we're gonna rate from 1 to 10, 10 being very inappropriate at the time that you heard them for the age that you heard them in. And Kyra is gonna start off.
So I got 4 songs. First one was Salt Shaker. So looking back at the lyrics now, because you know, I still don't really listen to lyrics. I'm like, oh, this is cool. But looking back at the lyrics now, listening to them, I would have to say an 8. Yeah, I was a little young, but I was very naive when I was younger. So I was sweet and innocent. So it didn't really matter. But then we got Lollipop. Just as freaking bad.
That was what, middle school too?
Yeah, junior high-ish, yeah.
Okay, yeah, probably.
Yeah, regardless, even if it was like high school. For me, for my sweet, innocent self,
Nice.
I was super innocent. Thank you. And one I actually was thinking about that I actually looked up because I was trying to do my research was one that I never realized was bad until now. Like just recently, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, what? And it's a Spice Girl song.
Spice, really? There's a bad one for Spice Girls?
To Become One. I was like, oh, wait a minute. Okay. All right. That's what they talking about. But for me, wasn't paying attention to it like that. So I would say that was a 6 for me. And then Baby Got Back.
Yeah.
It's about a 9 for me.
Yeah.
9 for me.
I would say it's definitely a 9. What did you give the Spice Girls one again?
A 6.
6. Yeah. I think it's because it's like you don't really catch
They were slick with that one.
Yeah, so I mean, they were good songs in their time. I know that we all enjoyed listening to Spice Girls back in the day when you were a girl. My favorite was Scary Spice because she reminded me of my mom.
Because your mom's scary.
No, just because my mom is brown. Yeah, and my mom
I don't know which is worse. Okay.
It was hard to like find
Yeah.
American artists that look like my mom.
Yeah, she's very...
So, because my mom's a Afro-Latina, so when you look at her, you see brown skin, and at the time her hair was way curlier because she hadn't been through chemo and radiation yet. So when the Spice Girls were a thing, remember how Scary Spice had like the brown, like the dark root and the blonde tips? My mom had her hair like that. So I was like, oh, my mom is Scary Spice, and then for one Halloween she did become Scary Spice.
Well, she is a little scary. I don't want to get on her bad side.
No, 4'11" Latina who has a hot temper, probably not. And then she wonders where I get it from. So, oddly enough, it didn't occur to me when we did this, when I said, well, let's do this particular topic, to do any in Spanish from when I was younger. None of those hit me first. But now that I think about it, I have 2 that I'm gonna add. So I'm gonna start first with the English ones. One of them, No Short Dick Man was one of the ones that came to mind by Galette, or Gillette if you say it in Spanish because she's Puerto Rican. I want to give that like a solid 10 because the censored version didn't really allow you to actually know what all of the lyrics were.
See, but here's the thing though, is like, okay, so I feel like there was way more like, okay, you got the clean version and you got the explicit version. Now I feel like it's like, hey, you get what you get. Like, if you don't want to listen to it, close your ears. Like, there's no, I mean, I guess you can find a clean version. I don't know. I've never looked. So
Even now, like when I look up a clean version, it still sounds like they're letting certain things slip.
yeah.
But in the 90s and 80s, like that stuff didn't
Yeah.
fly. There's a lot of things that you couldn't say on the radio that you couldn't see on TV. None of that. Even TV, that's a different topic that we'll talk about when it comes to movies and shows. They can't move a certain way anymore because it's considered too risque. But yet music just got dirtier and dirtier, so it doesn't really make
I'm
sense.
trying to find a clean version of WAP. What would that sound like? Instrumental?
Leaps.
Instrumental. That's a clean version.
So hers, at the time, if I do it today, the actual version, no censorship at all, I would give it a 10. At the time, probably a 9, because I mean, what the hell is that thing? An extra belly button. That is gonna be the smallest I have seen my whole life. Get the hell out of here. That's like, it's a lot. My cousin Melly did a suggestion. It's By Next, and it's Too Close. That one I didn't realize it until I listened to it and I was reading the lyrics as I was listening to it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, so this whole time I've been like feeling it, being like, oh my god, this is so romantical. Nope, not romantic at all. At least not in that way. So I would have given it a 5 now as an adult, but if I have to rate it as a child, that was probably around a 9. And then everything Wu-Tang Clan would be a 10. Like everything Wu-Tang Clan. And my dad had a ugly brown Honda Civic growing up, like a little bucket that literally the door squeaked and it sounded like it would fart every time it took off. And he would play that there, and sometimes when he was DJing, and here's 4-year-old me listening to it. So
that was my aunt with Pony.
probably another one that
was or I'm in love with the stripper. Oh my goodness, what is wrong with our generation?
We have a lot of learning to do.
House music though.
I mean, it was good at the time. Yeah, so next one I kept thinking of, because when you hear the title, you don't really think it's going to be that bad. Peaches and Cream by 112 or 112. I gave that one an 8. I probably went really light on these, but the next one is Bia Bia. And the reason why I thought of that one is because my mom thought the song was saying Tia Tia.
Oh yes.
It's totally not what they're saying. Right. And my like 4-year-old nephew at the time, he's like, oh, Bia Bia. And she goes, oh, he's saying Tia Tia. And my cousin's like, that's not what he's saying. Like, Bia Bia means bitch or punk, and that's what he's basically saying right now. So that one I gave a 9, and that is by Lil Jon, the East Side Boys with Ludacris and Too Short. This one I hated to rate because I just love the song so much. I wanna Love You by Key Sweat, because all his music is good. It's all really, really good. And look,
but if we're listening to it now,
it's appropriate now.
Oh, okay.
But at like 7, 8 years old, probably not. He's talking about how he wants to love you and tease you. This? He's not even handsome in the face, but his voice is just to die for.
Listen, close your eyes. Everybody's cute.
No. You just basically did what Latinos say. They say shrimp is good without a head. So basically men are like shrimp. They're all good.
See, no. They're not all good.
Let's see here. You Dropped a Bomb on Me by the Gap Band.
I feel like we need to have like
oldies. Mine went really back compared to like yours are middle school, which is still like okay. Mine went like far back as childhood. That one I gave a 9 because at that time I probably should not have been listening to that song. Let's Get It On and Sexual Healing by Marvin Gaye.
Yes. That's like the like go-to song too for like every single movie. Yeah. Like any type of movie that's gonna have sex in it, like that song is there.
Or a romantic, like it's gonna happen, then it doesn't happen, and you're like, you put that song on for nothing.
Like, I really want to know how many people really use that song though.
Probably not many. Not as many as people have envisioned it because they've seen movies.
I think we should do a survey.
Maybe.
How many people?
So remind me to put that on TikTok and on Instagram. How many people have actually used Let's Get It On and Sexual Healing while doing the deed. Another one that I didn't think was that big a deal, but I have it on my phone and I was listening to it in the car when I was stuck in traffic going to LA. Bust a Move by Young MC. Have you actually like looked at the lyrics and listened to it?
Absolutely not. I've listened to it, but no.
So, I mean, no fine, like ugly faces or something like that. The way he says it, it's one moment, please.
I feel like inappropriate is very different back then than it is now, though. Like now, and maybe it's, I don't know.
It's different. It's different now.
Like now we're just like word vomit and we're gonna say what we want to do, how we want to do it too. We want to do it too.
It's like a girl starts walking, a guy starts gawking, which I'm like, okay, that's not bad. He's just like
I mean, it is. Don't be perv.
And then
don't harass the lady.
No fine girls, just ugly faces from frustration, first inclination. And he's basically, she's dressed in yellow. She says, hello, come sit next to me, you fine fellow. She's just, basically he's like wanting to get along with this person and he's being kind of pervy.
Okay, but that's reality.
I mean, it is reality. He's being kind of pervy, but again, it's not like he's talking explicit as we're gonna do this.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I gave that one, originally I was gonna give it an 8, but then I thought about it, I was like, it's more like a 6.
Yeah.
So I left it alone. And this one is an oldie but goodie. Cruisin' by Smokey Robinson. I think when you're first listening to it, you're like, oh, it's so pretty. But he's basically saying, let's run away from here and be intimate. So at the time of his generation, that was kind of like a taboo thing.
Yeah.
He didn't really talk about like premarital relations that way.
You can say sex.
I wanted to keep it clean. But
that is clean. That's what it is.
It's that he was trying to insinuate that like let's have sex, but let's run away and do it because music is made for love.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I gave that one a 4.
Yeah, that one's kind of,
because if you're not paying attention to it with the actual beat,
well, and if you're not really thinking of that, you're just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, you think it's like you're spending time together.
Right.
Kind of like Too Close, I thought was about dancing for the longest time, and it's not about
I think every song was about sex.
back then, absolutely. But then Spanish songs.
Okay.
So the one that came to my mind because of my uncle who passed away, he used to say that this man was a womanizer, but damn, he had a really pretty voice. In translation, Juan Sebastián, que mujeriego, pero tan bonito que canta el cabrón. So he has a song called El Secreto de Amor, which is the secret of love.
Yeah.
And he's basically talking about his mistress. How no one can know who she is, so he's gonna change her name.
Well, that's a part of having a mistress, isn't it? You don't want everybody to know you have a mistress.
But they want to be like in public, so it just kind of, at that time that song was made.
How does that work?
I don't know. Explain that to Juan Sebastián.
So basically he wants a side bitch and his main bitch to get along so he can be out with the side bitch. Okay.
Pretty much.
All right.
So that's one that I thought, okay, maybe it's bad. Because when you're young, you're thinking, oh, like,
yeah, but
he's
when
on
you're
a
young though, I feel like when you're yeah, like you really, I mean, some people do, because I know a lot of kids that are, I'm like, what in the world? Why do you even know what that means? But like, you know, if you're innocent, you're just like, oh, okay.
All I have to say is that my parents get on my case for my potty mouth because they say I have a horrible vocabulary and that I swear a lot. But whose fault is it when they played Wu-Tang Clan, all those other songs?
No, I don't think that's fair. That's fair. Why? I don't think that's fair.
Why?
Because I listened to the same kind of music you did growing up, and I do not cuss in front of my parents.
Have you met my mother, Nina?
Your who?
My Nina.
Yes. But I'm just saying, you can't blame it on the music, okay? Music, it's like, no, you can't blame it on the music. That's just how you were. That's a different topic.
Mind you, I didn't used to cuss in front of them, but I felt like all my other cousins were doing it.
Girl, I was like, that don't cuss around my mama.
All my other cousins were doing it. I'm like, okay, so fair game. Yeah. Like at this point, fair game because I'm always judged anyway. So
yeah, I don't think that has to do with music. You can't blame the music on that.
I sure can.
You can. It's just different. It's just different. It's how, there's nothing wrong with it. But again, I listen to the same music. I probably have a potty mouth outside of when I'm not with them.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But it's different. Like for me, it's different. You know what I mean? Like I feel differently about.
Like I can't do it in front of my grandma. That's one person no. I absolutely cannot do it in front of. But it was just, it was a different time.
So question is are you going to allow your children to listen to the same music?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you expect them to have a potty mouth too?
Absolutely.
All right, cool. All right, cool. Just know they can't be coming over to Thea's house over here.
What are you talking about? You have off Sundays, so I can watch football in peace.
Y'all going to church. See you later.
Wash your mouth with holy water. No, I just think it's a different time because now we listen to like pretty much everything Cardi B I saw someone like say, the children, well, don't let your kids listen to it then if you have a problem with it. Like, it's not that serious.
There is appropriate, like, there's so many different, there's like a billion songs in the world. Like, there's kid-friendly songs. There's, what is it, like K-pop or something? I hear the K-pop. I hear the little preschool right here. They be slapping too. I'm like, what is going on? Like, this is not okay. Just because it's censored, it's not okay. But, I definitely don't think that music is... if you teach your kids that, no, you're not going to cuss in front of me, watch your mouth, I think that's a little different.
That's how... Growing up, like, you're not allowed to cuss
we are
in front of adults.
Grown it.
Yeah. So. Yeah, but my parents were like very much, you're not gonna cuss because you're a child, and I don't care if your cousins cuss. Right. It doesn't matter to me. The only time my dad would let me cuss though was on Thursdays when he had the day off of work, and we would go on our father-daughter walks, and he would let me talk shit about anybody I wanted to talk shit about. And when we were watching like In Living Color, Mad TV, or South Park.
Okay.
But because my dad wanted me to imitate Carmen.
Yeah, I can't really say anything because my dad used to watch The Simpsons with me, like coming out of my mom's womb, like baby, and I'm like, that was not okay. But whatever, I think I turned out fine.
They would bring In Living Color back because that was funny as hell back in the day. I like the reruns. I swear they had back then. It was like something underground. And Damon Wayans was the creator, producer, and stuff of it, but it got shut down because it was so bad.
Well,
like it was good, but it was bad.
You just have to be careful because now we have so many people that are just like offended by anything and everything, and so it kind of sucks because like even the cartoons are very different than when we grew up. Like I don't understand. I don't either. But hey. I'm not a parent, so whatever. My kids are gonna watch SpongeBob though. That's my line. And Teen Titans.
See, even like we know I have no idea what kids are into now because I thought what's his name? Benton was the bear and it was Pendleton.
Ben 10.
I'm like, oh, it's that little bear with the rain boots and the rain. No, absolutely not.
I like how my mom called you out on Facebook though. What's wrong with you?
I'm like, I watched telenovelas growing up, okay? So like that was me. Mujer Caso Cerrado.
So did you listen to a lot of Spanish music growing up though?
Yeah.
A lot or more?
It was pretty even. I listened to a lot of English music because my dad's a no sabo kid because he's Puerto Rican and he doesn't really speak Spanish. His parents didn't teach him, but his grandparents spoke full-on Spanish, especially in the house. So I just don't understand how it never clicked. He listened to, and he DJ'd growing up. So like after work or on the weekends, he would DJ, and he did breakdancing for a little bit. So a lot of hip hop, rap, all that stuff was being what's like one group. Why am I not thinking of them? Cypress Hill. That was one thing that he listened to like on repeat. My mom being from Compton, she listened to a lot of hip hop. She did hip hop dancing. She was in a MC Hammer video and she danced with Digital Underground, and she actually knew Tony Tone growing up. So things like she went to school with Snoop Dogg, Ice Cube, and Jenny Rivera also, she's like a diva de la banda. She does banda music. So my mom, it was pretty even for her. However, at my grandma's house, only Spanish. She didn't care if her grandkids were visiting. It was only Spanish because she doesn't understand English or speak English. But even like Clara would sing a lot of Spanish with my cousin Melly, and they would sing together. They had really beautiful voices. But if you ask me what she listened to the most, it was freestyle, so like Stevie B, things like that. What about you? Just mostly English? But what genre?
Oh, girl, I don't speak Spanish. But actually, no, that's hella funny because me and my cousin were like, okay, so probably high school, junior high, we went through this whole phase where we were like, I mean, growing up, actually, that is interesting now that I think about it. Because my tia, we were always at like their parties and stuff. So they were always listening to Spanish music. Didn't know what they was talking about, but I was chilling. I liked it. I can't think of the song, but there was one song that me and my cousin were like obsessed with. But I was also like really into Mexican guys. And so I was like determined, like I'm gonna learn Spanish. I'm gonna be, that didn't happen, but whatever. Still don't really know Spanish, but I will still listen to songs that I don't understand what they're saying, like whatever language they're speaking. If I like it, I like it. I don't know. I mean, Candy Lover, perfect example. I don't know half the things she's saying, but yeah. So I would stop her music. I love her music.
I do. I mean, when I was setting up, I have her song "I Don't Care" playing because that's what. Look, Candy, we have to have a conversation. I know that you had other songs that you've released, and all of them are great. I'm not saying they're not. My favorite songs of yours is "I Don't Care" because I feel like when there's days that I do care, I really need to hear it. I really need to hear that I don't care because I need it. I just need it in my life. The other one is "Mariposas" because I feel like that is the perfect song for a female to sing to her man. I don't know if you were thinking of Darren when you wrote that because, un taco de ojo nunca hace nada mal.
She talked about it.
Did she?
I think so.
I probably missed that one.
Yeah, she talked about it on a live. But you know what though? I can't.
I know that what is it with everybody playing? Is it because it's summer and everyone's playing Twerk It?
Twerk It.
Yeah, and I'm like, I couldn't think of it, and I'm like, why is it showing up on my TikTok everywhere?
Yeah, because just somebody said something. She did a live yesterday, I think, last night, and she was like, yeah, play it at your 4th of July party, play it at your house.
I barely caught it for like a second because I was editing another.
Yeah, Twerk It, and then what's the porcelana?
Muñeca de porcelana.
Yeah, that.
The porcelain doll.
That song just hit like. Oh.
There's one that I don't think she released the full song. I don't know if you've seen it where she's wearing like the platinum blonde wig and she's holding the plushie and she's singing. I'll show you later, but that one kind of got in my feels because, look, if it's not your body, mind your business. It's that simple. I don't understand why nowadays, like, I know how we're talking about music and how back then when we were young, it was probably inappropriate for us to listen to as children, but now as adults, like, you can listen to it. It's appropriate to you, for you to listen to it because you've gone through experiences. However, you're not entitled to just say whatever you want to say just because you have a keyboard in front of you, whether it be your phone, your computer, your iPad. You're not entitled to be nasty. You're not.
So again, we talked about this. I think Candy's body is just amazing, like goals, right? But I also know that there's so many people in the world that don't look like, you know, this perfect size or perfect body shape, like, but that doesn't mean that there's people who are attracted to that body style, that body shape, that just body, you know what I mean? And so, like, you can't really sit here and bash somebody. Like, obviously she's been with her man for hella years, and you can see it, like, he adores her, he loves her, like that. She's perfect for him, right, and he's perfect for her. So by you saying all of that, all you're doing is being mean. And for what? Like, karma's gonna come back, and then you're gonna be mad, because I bet you don't have to perfect everything, right? And if you do, good for you, because at the end of the day, I think I'm perfect the way I am.
Like, you can come at me all you want about my looks and about my weight, about the way I have my hair. At the end of the day, you don't know what I've been through. You don't know the fact that I have an autoimmune and inflammatory disease that leaves me to have cysts, and I couldn't work out for a certain time because I was going through wound care, and I gained a bunch of weight, and now I'm trying to lose a bunch of weight, but I'm dealing with the scars. You don't see those things because you don't know them, and they're none of your business, quite frankly.
But that's not even important, because you're still an amazing person. You're still a beautiful person. Like, somebody is like, I mean, there's somebody that loves that, like, loves the way you look, loves every little curve, every little, you know what I mean? Like, and it's crazy because the older I get, the more men are actually like, we don't necessarily want that person that has a flat ass stomach and like, no, we want that little, like, soft little cushion, you know, right, like, not to be nasty or anything, but, like, you know what I mean? Like, people enjoy curves, people enjoy imperfection. So why be hateful? Like, that's all you're doing, is you're just being hateful for no reason.
It's like our parents taught us, well, most people were taught, you know, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. And I feel like nowadays people are misusing social media instead of using it to actually, like, elevate other people, educate other people. They're using it to target people and make themselves feel better by making other people feel worse about themselves. Right. And that's what irritates me, especially in the music industry. They talked a lot about women, a lot of men talked about women, and when women would talk about men in the same way, they were very sensitive about it. Very, very sensitive about it. And it's like, example, no short dick man. Like, she's literally talking about a man in the way that she sees it, and a lot of men would be like, oh, I don't like that bitch anyway. Like, why is she talking about me like that? Well, the shoe fits, lace it up. Because it's music. If men can talk about women being hoes, bitches,
well, and it goes
whatever,
vice versa. Like, women are doing, I think nowadays, are doing the same thing men were doing, right? Like, now we're just more open about it.
Yeah.
Like, and what?
Well,
all of a sudden you're mad because I'm treating you how you treated me?
Right.
Oh, okay, bet.
Right. And it's almost like do you remember, so Pete Davidson, the comedian, was dating Ariana Grande, and this is something for those who are younger than us, you probably remember. He did two jokes on his stand-up about her that weren't even really it wasn't even like a diss at her. It was more like he was targeting himself using her inside of the joke, but she wrote a whole song about his penis, and yet he got accused of being like a hater, being rude, and so many other things. It's like, well, first of all, she's the first one to release something about him. And he made the joke about himself, not even about her.
I just think that we're all so, like, society's so sensitive about everything. It's like, man, like, comedians, I feel bad for them because they can't say anything about anything. Like, God forbid they make fun of themselves or use their situation or make light of the air. I'm offended. Oh my God, I'm offended.
Like, Dave Chappelle tried to make a joke and he was almost attacked on stage.
Yes.
Security actually, like, first of all, security was really fucking late because the guy actually got on the stage. They should have never actually been able to be on stage.
Right.
And another person who took something really serious, well, I didn't think it was serious, but she took it really serious, was Monique, the comedian, when she got Donkey of the Day on The Breakfast Club. And she was really mad about it. Well, you're talking about a situation that has to deal with you, and you're trying to use women in general, women comics, to elevate your platform about how you feel like you've been wronged. That's where you got Donkey of the Day, because a lot of comedians, Joe Coy is one of them, he produced his whole stand-up by himself and then told Netflix, take a look at this before I go somewhere else and then we'll talk, and they ended up buying it from him. She could have done the same thing.
Joe Coy was ridiculous when I saw him, but anyways, that's another story.
So all in all, music, I think, has evolved into something completely different now.
Yeah.
I wish there was a lot more music like back in the day. I think the ones who kind of remind me a little bit of older music would be like Bruno Mars. He reminds me a lot of like Prince and Michael Jackson. Chris Brown sometimes gives me that like Michael Jackson and Prince vibes sometimes.
Well, and I think it's now more, there's a lot of like, oh, we like this person, we don't like this person because of what they're doing. So like Chris Brown, for instance, like, okay, so back in, our day growing up, oh, he's a woman beater. Okay, but nobody was tripping off, what's his face? R. Kelly?
Right.
Like, come on. I mean, if you make good music, give props where props are due. You make good music. Other than that, like, I don't have to hang out with you. I'm not gonna hang out with you. It is what it is. Like, I'm not involved in all of that because I don't know what's really going on. But
so allegedly, those instances have happened. I want to make sure that we say that before we get hit with whatever. But, you make a good point. We target a lot of individuals for things that they have done in their past, but we don't say anything about those who are doing it in the present. One of them would be I think he owns the MMA league, Dana White, allegedly. And there is video footage where it looks like he's hitting his wife in their box at the MMA fight, and he punched her in the face. It wasn't like he smacked her. He punched her in the face like a dude. And that's why when Chris Brown has these moments where he explodes, right? And he talks about like, y'all are judging me something I did as a young man, as a 19, 20-year-old, versus men who are in their 50s, 40s, and 30s doing it now. What is the difference? And I think that in that instance, and it's no shade to anyone else, I do think it has to do with ethnicity, because a lot of the men that are doing it in their 50s and 40s are Caucasian, they're white. And
it's society makes it expected. Right. Like, what? No.
So they get away scot-free because they have money too, which is a whole nother issue. They have money so they can get away with a lot. But someone who's a person of color who has money does still not get away with the same thing that you're getting away with.
Well, it's still stigmatized differently too.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, that's definitely, that's a
whole nother.
That's a hot topic for another time.
Yes, it is. So we're gonna keep this one short, you guys, because we have other things that we have to do. But I do just want to say, if you have a song that you think you were too young to have heard at the time, whether you are 7 years old, 8 years old, 12, I want to say the max would probably be 17. Let us know which song it was, who it was, and what your rating would be, and we can discuss it at another time, maybe on TikTok or Instagram, do a video and post it for you guys. You can reach out to us at Maye Ladies 7 on Instagram for the polls that we will be posting periodically, as well as on TikTok, on YouTube as well. Watch our videos, like, share, and subscribe. Tell your friends to tell their friends, and to tell their parents too. To please like, subscribe, and share, because we need help to keep growing.
I mean, we need help in other aspects as well, but we're not going to talk about that.
But so just remember, you are your only you. There will never be anyone else like you. And Candy, Lover89, you are our friend. Reach out to us because we would love to work with you. We would like to interview you. I know Kyra has a lot of questions, and she's probably gonna have a complete freak out moment. Just so you know, she's very quiet when she's shy. She sometimes blushes. Anyway,
we can have a glitter party.
Not have a glitter party, because I don't want to be cleaning up glitter for months.
Anyways, we can have a glitter party. Rhinestone party.
Rhinestones, yes. Glitter.
This is my spot, so we can do whatever we want.
I have to visit you.
Hit us up.
Anyway, anything else you would like to add? Nope. Okay. So, adiós mi gente. Que estén bien. Bendiciones.
Bye.